We're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch and the 3 reasons why it's going to probably fold. As much as I hate to make this video, because I love Nintendo, Nintendo for me represents my childhood, I don't think it's going to go too well. And the 3 major reasons why are the specs, the trends, and their track record. So let's start off talking about the specs. What? This is 2017, and I can't tell you the exact processor and everything that this thing is running, but I can tell you that every single time that more information comes out about the Switch, it seems to diminish in terms of quality. We look at the battery life. The battery life was going to be 10 hours or something when it was first concept. When it was first brought out, this thing was going to have like a 10-hour battery life. And that's great for a portable thing especially, but something that's going to run as much as it does, that's crazy. But now it's looking like 3 hours. 3 hours is terrible. And at that point, what's the point of bringing something for 3 hours when I might as well just sit at home and play it and charge it? It's going to become a permanent plug and play. So that's the whole shtick of this thing, is that it's portable, but the portability of it is almost completely done at this point. So to me, the portability of it is bad. You look at, it has a 32 gigabyte memory space, which is terrible. And that just means that the base model is going to have 32 gigs at like $300 for 32 gigabytes. And then you're going to look at, oh, well, maybe I need some more memory, because 32 gigabytes really could maybe only fit a game nowadays. And if they're talking about running things like Skyrim, which I'm going to get to in a minute, but 32 gigabytes is terrible. And then you're going to look at 32 gigabytes for that, so they're going to have to up the memory size, and so what are they going to do when the memory size goes up? You're going to have to pay more money. So the price tag already for a console that can't really compete with current gen consoles being just as much or even more in some cases than current gen consoles that are capable of running much more than this console is capable of. To me, that doesn't make any sense at all. But that's just everything that I have to say about it, just off the top of my head, without even really digging too deep into the processor or any of the actual components of this game itself. But I also wanted to talk about trends. We see this every single time a new console releases. Nintendo releases a console out of the blue, and we get maybe a couple of months of notice, and it's here. Now, March is already around the corner, and this console is supposed to be coming out in March. But there's already been a ton of stuff going on with this console in terms of negative publicity, and we just see how Nintendo has done with these games. Like, with every single console that comes out, every new installment. You look at the Wii U. I got a Wii U. Do I regret getting a Wii U? Yeah. What games does it have? There's Super Smash Bros, and it has maybe the new Mario Karts that come out with it. That's it. There's no... Nintendo used to be this company where when the GameCube was out, the really weird random games were popular. It was the trend. And that's why Nintendo excelled so much, was because nobody could compete with them. They had so many games, they had an audience, they had a really cool looking console. The Nintendo GameCube, to me at least, the purple and the orange were iconic for that point in time. And what do we get now? We get this round little black thing. Kind of looks like a rounded out Xbox, like a really small Xbox. And the whole gimmick of that console was the portable controller thing, which had a screen on it, which didn't get me started. The screen is this big. If I'm playing this thing on a TV, why am I going to downgrade to that? And I get it, I understand that it was meant for cooperative play, and where a kid could be in the living room, he could be playing when his parents were watching TV, that's all good and dandy, but also by the same token, like, how irritated are these parents gonna be when this kid's sitting there playing Smash Bros or whatever on the screen, and everything's making a ton of noise. In concept, it's a great idea. I love it on paper, but in execution, kinda weak. You look at all the stuff that comes out, I mean, Pokken Tournament was another big name, but that's all Nintendo has to go off. Their sales are... They depend on the new installment of Smash Bros. They depend on the new Mario exclusive games, and they depend on the gimmicky games off the bat that have to do with the game. When the Wii came out, it was Wii Sports Resort, and something else. But there were these huge Wii games that came out, and it was like, wow. And after a little bit, the Wii was kind of like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't want to run around. I want to play a video game. Like, I want to play a decent video game that all my friends are playing. So, Call of Duty, GTA, you name it. First-person shooters, M-rated games. Nintendo is so reluctant to do an M-rated game because that's their whole thing, is they appeal to a family-friendly environment and a family-friendly demographic. And I understand that. Friendly, and I get that and I respect that because they're staying firm with that, but by the same token, it's killing them. It's killing Nintendo to not follow these trends. What's the biggest games that are coming out right now are Call of Duty, which arguably is less and less popular with every installment. Call of Duty, Battlefield, Grand Theft Auto are huge. And there's no denying that. The only console exclusive games that are huge now are Halo. And that's arguable too. But Nintendo is so afraid to put out an M-rated game, or at least a bunch of M-rated games, and even if they do, you look at World at War that was on the Wii, it couldn't even stand up to the 360 or the PS4 or the PS3. And it's a different time, but by the same token, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox, and God forbid the PC, if you release a Call of Duty on a Wii, on the new Wii, or on the new Nintendo Switch, I apologize, the new Nintendo Switch is gonna be blown away in comparison to the computer. The PC is it blows the PS4 and the Xbox One out of the water, no competition. So forget about the Nintendo Switch, this thing is not even gonna be able to stand on its own. So those titles on their own cannot even compete. And that's terrible for Nintendo. Nintendo understands that they're biggest sellers now, and we might see a slight difference this year, but let's face it, it's not gonna sell consoles if they release. There's rumors floating around about a Pokemon Sun and Moon sequel coming out on the Wii or on the Nintendo Switch. That's so stupid. I don't get it. Why would you release the sequels to Sun and Moon on a different console, on a $300 console, when people already have your consoles? You're losing sales. You're losing all the effort and everything that you're putting into it. If you put out Sun and Moon 2, or whatever the sequel is gonna be, people are gonna buy it. If it's for the DS, I'd buy it. And nobody's gonna buy a $300 console so they can pay $60 for a game that originally would have cost them $40. That's outrageous. I don't think they're gonna sell anything off that, and they're gonna rely on the whole Super Smash Bros. Gimmick to sell, and they're gonna rely on the whole new Mario game to sell, and there's gonna be, I think, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, where like the huge names that stuck out. Oh, Legend of Zelda. Yeah, that's right. But Legend of Zelda, Mario, Super Smash Bros, and maybe one or two other games that are gonna be exclusive are gonna be the selling points. And that's it. We see it every single year. You never heard about the Wii U. You heard a little bit about the Wii U when Super Smash Bros. 4 was gonna come out, or yeah, actually it's just Super Smash Bros. Right? You're gonna see that where you're gonna have a little bit of interest, but nobody's really gonna commit unless they have just stupid amounts of money to throw out. And kids now see all their friends playing Call of Duty or playing on a PS4 or an Xbox One. So no kid is gonna be like, yeah, you know, my friend has an Xbox, play with my friends, but no. I wanna play that 7-year-old game Skyrim that folded anyway when they remastered it and put it out. You're gonna be getting a 6-7-year-old game on this console, and you're gonna probably be paying full retail for this game. Skyrim is coming out on a Nintendo Switch, as advertised. But why? is my question. If they're probably going to charge a full vote, let's be honest, Nintendo really doesn't do sales that much. And if they do sales, they're not really that great usually. And it's they're nickel and diming you. You're going to be paying a ton of money for something that you don't even need. You're going to play this game maybe a little bit and then be done with it. They're going to pull the whole, we're going to remaster something and give it out to you, like they did with Wind Waker. I gave into it. I bought Wind Waker. I like the game. But that's going to happen, and that's it in terms of trends. I mean, Nintendo basically doesn't want to keep up with trends. Nintendo is very reluctant to keep up with trends, and they're going to release games that are somewhat resemblant of the trending games. Like Splatoon is going to probably come out for this console as a given, and that's it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not talking down about it. I want it to work, but in terms of what Nintendo has done over the last consoles, ever since the Wii, it doesn't look good. It really does not look very good in terms of long term. Brings me to my last point, the track record of Nintendo. And I kind of already covered this, but Nintendo does this every console. Nintendo comes out with a new console, a new concept for a new console, every couple of years, out of the blue, out of sync with all the other consoles. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One come out same time every year, just about. And they come out with the same cycle. I think it's 2 or 3 years, they come out with a new console. And when that ends up happening, Nintendo doesn't do anything. They just kind of sit in their hands, and I don't want nothing to do with that. I'm gonna release my console in a couple years. We'll see. And by that point in time, you've already gotten caught up in the choosing game between Sony or Microsoft, and you have to pick a side. You end up picking a side, and you end up getting a console because you need a new console, because they scare you by saying, well, we're going to stop making games for your console, we're going to shut off the online, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And they make bold promises, and they sell you on a new console, so you're already like $400 down the river. You already spent so much money on a brand new console, and now Nintendo's like, oh, hang on guys, look, it's the Nintendo Hanger. Look at this. You can look at people through it. They sell you some stupid nonsense you don't even need. Please smarten up, Nintendo. That's all I have to say. Like, please don't do this to yourself. Just do this again. Do this again for this one. Okay? You got it?